Hey class, this is for IXL Algebra 1, I9 rearranged multivariable equations. So in this lesson, what we want to understand is that there's an opposite to every operation. So the opposite of add is going to be subtract, the opposite of multiply will be divide, and the opposite of an exponent is going to be a square root. So let's just keep that in mind as we begin to solve for t in terms of r, s, and u. So whenever I read this formula right here, it says r is equal to u times t times s. So and it says I want to get t all by itself. So what operation, undo a puzzle is what we want to do. So what operations do I need necessary for t to remain on one side of the equal side all by itself? So initially we want t is equal to something. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. All right, so what is the opposite of multiply? We said divide. So I'm going to divide by a u and I will divide by an s. Any number, so if I have 7 divided by 7, my answer is going to be 1. If I have u divided by u, my answer is going to be 1. It's very important that you just remember that rule, and if you don't trust yourself, put this into a calculator and see if it doesn't equal 1. So u divided by u is 1, and s divided by s is 1. What I do to one side of the equal sign, I must do to the other. So my final answer is going to be that t is equal to r divided by US. This will be the answer that we will put into IXL. Oh, I bet they want us to use this. So let me go back. R, and then arrow down, US, U times S. So let's go ahead and do it again. So this time we're using the formula of C is equal to Q divided by V. Fractions mean division. So whenever I read this, it is Q divided by V. So again, what is the opposite of divide? Is going to be multiply. So in this instance, what I want to be able to say is the opposite of division is times V. Now, I don't like necessarily to read it as, or to write it as a times V, because it does look like a an X. And so another way in Algebra 1 and in pre-algebra to write times is going to be divide by V. Multiply by V and multiply by V. So we know that this this V would be on top. So those would cancel out. And now I'm left with VC is equal to Q. I have Q by itself on one side of my equal sign. Do you see it all by itself? So now Q equals, same order, doesn't matter, and CV. And let's keep going. So this one says y equals w plus v minus an x. So again, what is the opposite operation? So I am wanting to get w all by itself on one side of the equal sign. So initially what I want to do is I am going to get rid of this v by opposite operation, and I will get rid of this x by opposite operation. So let's go ahead and find out. Let me rewrite this. Let's go ahead and find out what the opposite is. So opposite of plus v is going to be a minus v. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side of an equal sign. So what is the opposite of a negative x? A positive x. Or you could say, what is the opposite of a minus x? A plus x. Same thing. So now we have w by itself on one side of the equal sign, and I can just go ahead and write in my answer. So it's going to be a negative v plus an x plus a y. It looks like I forgot a plus sign there. Plus a y, because this y right here, let me make sure you see it, is a positive y. And this is a positive y. So negative v plus x plus y equals w. So remember, I can write it like this, or I can write it like this. W is equal to a negative v plus x plus y. Either which way, it's the same answer. And let's go on to the next one. Okay, here we go. So we have t is equal to v plus u. This one says get v by itself. So what's with v on one side, on the right-hand side of the equal sign? This u. So what I want to do, opposite operation, and move it to the other side of the equal sign. So what is the opposite of a plus u? Minus u. So this is going to say t minus u equals that v. That's how easy it is. Now when I write it, v is equal to u t minus u. That's what we're going to put in right there. T minus u. So it's going to say t. A good rule of thumb is to take the sign that's in front of every integer. So u is negative or minus, and t is positive because it's assumed positive because there is no positive or negative sign in front of it. So it's assumed positive. So there we go. One more, and then I hope that this helps. So let's go ahead and write this one out. So we have x, y equals a negative v z w. So this says x times, I like to go ahead and write these out, x times y equals negative v times z times w. So I know what opposite operation I'm going to be using. So let's go ahead and begin. So it says I want to get w by itself. Well, what am I going to move? I find out what side of the equal sign my w is on, and I move by opposite operation everything else. So I'm going to move those two. So it will now say, what is the opposite of times a negative v? So let me write this out for you. Negative v times z. What is the opposite? Negative v divide by. So I must divide by a negative v, divide by a negative v. That will cancel out the two v's. What is the opposite of times z? Divide by z. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I rewrite w equals xy, meaning x times y, negative v z, meaning negative v times z. So that would be my final answer. Let's go ahead and put our final answer in. xy is on top. Negative vz is on bottom. I hope this tutorial helps. You know, I always try to keep it under 5 minutes. Today was just not the day that I could. You guys have a great day. Bye.